and the other when he meets his Lord. What a beautiful narration. Likewise, fasting on the day of resurrection will intercede for you. As the hadith mentions, that fasting will say, Ya Allah, I prevented him from food and from desire, so accept my intercession for him. Well, the Quran will say, Ya Allah, I prevented him from sleeping at night, so accept my intercession for him. And then the Almighty Lord will accept their intercession. Now basically, we'll look at some rules, since the time is running very, very, very quickly at a tremendous pace, which is one of the minor signs of the hour. We'll look at basically 2 rules, and we'll leave it at that, inshaAllah ta'ala. The first rule is your intention. We make sure that our intention is in the heart. We do not stand up the night of Ramadan before dawn and say, today is the first night or the first day of Ramadan. Ya Allah, I live in 20 May Street, Kasula. It is 3:30 in the morning. I'm having for suhoor dates and milk, and today I am fasting, so please accept my fast. You do not say this. You intend in the heart that the abstinence from the breakers of fast is meant solely for worshipping Allah Ta'ala, and this should be before the dawn of each day, according to an opinion. And some said that you can say it or intend the first night of Ramadan for the whole of the 30 days. Insha'Allah, they're both acceptable and strong. So you do it before the dawn of that day, as Ibn Khuzaymah and Imam Ahmad mentions from Hafsa, that whoever does not make his niyyah before Fajr will have no fast on that day. But we have to look at our intention very, very carefully. And that intention is meant only for Allah Ta'ala. And unfortunately, we see many who fast for other than the Almighty Lord. Wallahi, dear beloved, it is a terrible possibility that all your actions, whether it is the fast or the prayer or anything else, can be rendered null if your intention is not sound. If you are not intending this fast or any act of worship solely to the one that created you, you are wasting your time and you are leading yourself to destruction. So make sure you monitor. Make sure you put your intention under surveillance every day, every single day. Talk to yourself. Ask Allah Ta'ala to give you ikhlas. Istaghfar Rabbak Azza wa Jal. Always seek forgiveness, asking Him for sincerity, and that you are doing it only for His sake. And in the Quran we've got a beautiful simile relating to a case that it compares 2 people, both engaged in what would appear as identical acts of charity. However, one is doing it purely for the sake of Allah, while the other one is doing it for the sake of the dunya. The Almighty Lord says in Surah Al-Baqarah, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تبطلوا صدقاتكم بالمن والأذى. Oh, you who believe, listen carefully, brothers and sisters. This is in every single act. Oh, you who believe, render not in vain your acts of charity. In other words, your acts of Islam, whether it's charity or any other act, render not in vain your acts of charity by reminding or reminders of your generosity or by injury. You get many people, for example, when they do an act of worship, they like others to know about it. They want to be exposed, conspicuous, you could call it, in front of people's eyes. Keep it hidden to yourself. Keep it hidden and concealed between you and Allah. You don't know, you don't care if they know or not. You don't want them to know. The more your act is concealed, the more reward, wallahi, the more reward you will receive from that act. Then he says, كَالَّذِي يُنْفِقُ مَالَهُ رِئَاءَ النَّاسِ وَلَا يُؤْمِنُ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ. Like the one, this is the first example, like the one who gives his wealth to be seen by man while he does not believe in Allah, nor in the last day. Let us see what Allah compared this person as being to. فَمَثَلَهُ كَمَثَلِ صَفْوَانٍ عَلَيْهِ تُرَابٍ. He is compared to a boulder, a big rock, with some dust on it. فَأَصَابُهُ وَابِلٌ فَتَرَكَهُ صَلْدًا. Rainstorm, heavy rain hits this big boulder with some dust on it, and it makes it bare. لا يقدرون على شيء مما كسبوا. They will not be able to benefit from anything that they have earned. In other words, no matter how much they gave, because it was not for the sake of Allah, no matter how much work or sacrifice that act involved, it is useless. It is thrown away. It is bare. It is barren, gone to waste. Wallahu la yahdi al-qawm al-kafirin. Allah does not guide such disbelieving folk. Now he comes to the other example. وَمَثَلُ الَّذِينَ يُنْفِقُونَ أَمْوَالَهُمْ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَتَثْبِيتًا مِنْ أَنفُسِهِمْ. As for those, look how beautiful this example is. As for those who give their wealth solely for the pleasure of Allah and to reinforce, to strengthen their souls, كَمَثَلِ جَنَّةٍ بِرَبْوَةٍ أَصَابَهَا وَابِلٌ فَآتَتْ أُكُلُهَا ضِعْفَيْنِ. They're compared to a garden on the hilltop. When the rain hits this garden, doubled is its produce, doubled. فَإِن لَمْ يُصِبْهَا وَابِلٌ. If no rain hits it, no heavy rain hits it, fatal, the drizzle does. What does? The drizzle. In other words, it is still producing. It is still producing. Why? Because it's valuable in the sight of Allah. Because this example, he's doing this act for the sake of Allah, this person. So Allah Ta'ala will either double it and double it manifold. It can become magnitude depending on his sincerity. Yet, if no rain hits it, it is still worth a lot in the sight of Allah because he done it for his cause and no one else. Wallahu bima ta'maluna basir. And look how we ended this verse. Given these two examples, this similarity, and Allah Ta'ala is well observant, watcher, seer over all that you do. In other words, he knows, O slave, what is in your heart. He knows whether you gave that charity, or whether you fasted, or prayed, or performed pilgrimage for the sake of him and only him. And he is well observant of all that you do. Likewise, what we've got to understand will be the last, inshallah, rule, which is extremely important. We ask ourselves, how should we fast? Can we break fast at 3 o'clock? Can we start fast at 9 o'clock? Can I fast only on food, but not on water? And don't forget the narration. Perhaps a fasting person receives nothing from his fast except hunger and thirst. What does this mean? In other words, which many of us again have not understood. You know, a lot of us got hard heads, wallahi, have not understood that the reward of any act of worship, whether it is fasting, whether it is praying, whether it is pilgrimage, or any act of worship, increases and decreases the reward, depending on its closeness to the sunnah of our beloved Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. The more you are closer to the sunnah, wallahi, the more you are going to be rewarded. The more you are lacking the sunnah, the more that reward is just going to waste and to waste. And the companions understood this and believed in this. This is why they accepted him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam, from the bottom of their hearts. They fully understood the meaning of following Muhammad ibn Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. This is why they loved him. They remembered him. They obeyed him. They were his true followers. They never ever said, Wallah, this is only sunnah. You hear this statement, Zunaid Musa? What did I say?